Caught unawares there, Mr Speaker, but never mind. I'd just like to start by saying that I'm a little bit surprised that the government members haven't been taking a few more calls on this bill, given that it was one of their colleagues who actually introduced the bill. And breaking with convention, I heard Sandra Gowdy say there is no convention in Parliament. It's an interesting statement to make, but breaking with convention and having not someone other than the local member of Parliament introducing a private bill, and given that it was one of their colleagues, I am really quite surprised that the government members aren't taking more interest in this. But, Mr Speaker, it is a bill that has obviously attracted endorsement from all parties in the House. It's a sensible piece of legislation, and I congratulate the governors of Christ College in bringing it through a MP resident in the Christchurch area into Parliament. The bill, of course, amends the Christ College Canterbury Act 1910 to remove difficulties in administrating property vested in the college where its intended purpose or purposes which the property was given to or vested in the college have, by the passage of time, become redundant or uncertain to its application, impractical to implement, or the property generates income that is inadequate or in excess of the amount necessary for the original purposes. The Select Committee took their task very seriously and gave the bill the scrutiny required and came up with some appropriate amendments, I think, to narrow down the powers of the governing board of Christ College so that the changes in terms of changed purpose and changed use of the property or trusts that are available to them, that the nature of those changes are narrowed down somewhat, and that is I think a sensible restraint on the powers that the governance board has in relation to changing the way they use those funds which have been granted to the college by people who may be long past and, of course, have no ability to have a say in those changes and potentially could disagree with the types of changes that the board might want to make. So it just limits their powers ever so slightly, and I think that was a sensible move. I agree with my colleague Grant Robertson's comments that we need not just allow these private bills to pass through without some comment. It is good to look at them seriously, to give them the same scrutiny that any other bill would. And again, I refer to the fact that government members have sort of taken less and less interest in this bill as it's continued through and now seem to have tired of the whole thing altogether. But I can assure the junior government whip that I do have one eye on the clock, and I am certainly aware that we are getting closer and closer to the dinner break, and I can assure the junior whip that I won't go too long in my speech, lest she be concerned that we give this bill too much scrutiny. You never know. In the third reading, it's probably a little bit late to discover something massive that we might want to change. Too late to make any amendments, but it is still important to give a bill like this the type of scrutiny that it needs. Mr. Speaker, perhaps one of the reasons why Christ College turned to a national MP was out of some vote of thanks for the government's spend up on private schools at to the detriment of public schools. It's fair to say. Perhaps that is why this bill is in the name of Nicky Wagner, I don't know, but it does sort of reinforce a stereotype I've been working hard, Mr. Speaker, to try and break with my colleagues on this side of the House, that not all private schools and not all graduates of private schools have national-leaning tendencies. My colleague Ruth Dyson wonders what that has to do with me. She obviously wasn't here during the committee stage where I confessed my background of having been privately educated myself. But, Mr. Speaker, this is a sensible bill. It's been sensibly amended by the Select Committee. The opposition members feel that it's an important enough bill to have the appropriate level of scrutiny. And now I believe that my colleague Ruth Dyson has a few words on the matter.